62 Show.
Welcome, everyone, to this week on the 6873 Show. Today, we're actually going to be discussing nonprofits, good and bad, and we're actually going to have some exciting news, direction we're actually going to be taking our show. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be quite informative, and hopefully this year is going to be an awesome year for not only the show and some of our future plans, but a lot of things we actually want to accomplish this year. So anyway, stay with us. My name is Captain Rin. The other hosts of the show, of course, are...
I'm Rossi. Next to me is...
I am Tokkie. The big dude over here is...
Ion and the small little bean here.
It's Void and Rubis. Hello, good to see you again.
Void is filling in for Healed, who couldn't be here today. He's busy at work, but Healed, we hope you're watching. So, as Ren said, non-profit organization, good or bad, we're going to enter some subjects of at least some alternatives. Also, some of us have done non-profit work. We are planning on maybe doing some. But like we said, we're going to venture into that and you will get more, info about certain stuff you could do or shouldn't do at the end of this episode. So please join us for this talk. So actually, before we started recording, I mentioned that it's a little bit of a morbid, but also a good thing for the people who's left behind with this kind of non-profit. You can call it non-profit. It's more of a collection because on a lot of funerals, unfortunately, there are a big bill afterwards. And not all families can afford that bill. So the last funeral I was at, unfortunately, that was a young man that lost his life tragically. But the family didn't have the means or whatever to pay for the funeral. So instead, they made a group where you could actually pitch in for the funeral instead of giving a flower or whatever you wanted to. And that actually, they managed to get a very good amount of money. And that helped out the family a lot.
It makes more sense, too.
Exactly. More and more people have been doing that here in Denmark, actually. It's been a thing where people that lost someone, they ask for a tribute to this person's funeral, like a kind of final say goodbye, instead of a flower that's not going to be there. But the thank you and everything from the people that love this person can actually show, hey, I'm willing to help you out with this, to whoever's left behind.
Genuinely help out with the family.
Exactly. And I think that's a good idea.
The donation.
Exactly. Donation.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Because it's going to help out a lot of people. So it's not just going to be a city burial, or what you call it, like the government taking over and just put you somewhere random. Because there are the unknown graves as well. We all know that. Yeah. But I think that's a good idea. And I actually, even though, like I said, it is a bit morbid, but I like that idea.
I do too. To me, that just makes more sense. And it's more of a... Yeah. Exactly. It's more of a caring gift. I mean, you can give a flower or whatever. I mean, it's going to be gone and the family's going to be saddled with that debt, where this is something that actually, this is something that the person in the grave would actually want.
Yeah. I mean, you can do...
Yeah.
So I should say you can do... I know here in the UK they do something called a funeral plan, where you can you pay into a plan so that by the end of it you've got some sort of lump sum of money that will pay for it, so you then don't have the debt fall onto, like you say, your partners. In a sense, it's a similar sort of thing, but it's not a non-profit thing. It's usually paid into a funeral company.
Yeah, I've seen that even over here in the States where, cover your last cost by, so
Mhm.
much every month going into, a funeral plan. But
Yeah.
even on that, it's even if it's not much, at the time, it's still a little bit to even help the family maybe get over some of the other stuff that's not covered,
Mm.
Yeah, because they don't have
and
to stand alone with the bill afterwards,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
dealing with even more bad stuff and such, and like how are they gonna gather it and whatnot. So yeah, that will be beneficial for a lot of people that has been left behind. But you also had something in mind, if I'm
Yeah, but
correct?
actually, so I was actually at one time going to actually start my nonprofit some time ago. So I actually got into it, did a lot of the research and stuff like that. My dad actually even worked for Goodwill for a time, which was a huge eye opener. But a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about nonprofits is it's not so much nonprofit. In fact, nonprofits are extremely profitable, one of the biggest profit companies you can have. And did you know that? So if you're going to start a regular nonprofit, of course, you have to do a directive, a board, all this other stuff. It's incorporate all that stuff. But I know here in the States and even in a lot of the countries, like even over in England, stuff like that, they have something called a 501(c), which means you're a nonprofit. You have all the advantages, but you can run it as a regular business. And by law, the only thing that any nonprofit is actually required to give to any base principal is only 10%. And there's actually loopholes around that too. In fact, for when my dad was working for Goodwill, for example, the money that they made was insane, and really nothing that they did actually went to any causes. It was basically just a secondhand store with a lot of advantages and tax benefits. And of course, that's one of the things I found out too when I was looking into starting my own nonprofit museum. Is how fast and easy it would have been to actually start this and run it as a business. And even though I actually wanted to genuinely help different things and especially run a museum, there's so much profit because you're getting it through so many different sources and stuff. But that's one of the things that kind of, I don't know, not soured me, but kind of made me scratch my head where only 10% of whatever you make goes to the actual principal, and there's even loopholes around that.
Yes.
Most
Yes.
nonprofits, by the end of it, maybe only 1% of your donations are actually going to the base principal.
I know. That's the problem here. We had a big case when it came to the Red Cross in Denmark, and they actually showed
Mhm.
pictures of their office having a major ass party because they gathered so and so many. I don't know how much money they gathered, and they were literally
Mhm.
just blowing it on booze and hookers. Well, that
Yep,
manager
that.
was. That manager is non-existent anymore. But yeah, and I will say Red Cross here does a lot of good work for out of country affairs and in-country
Mhm.
affairs. Unfortunately, I have that saying, why give to others when you can give to your own? Like the homeless
Exactly.
people in my country, the kids in my
Mm.
country, the animals in my country. That doesn't mean I don't support foreign contributions, if you can say that, but as Ren just said, I know that not even half of that goes to the organization itself, the help that they need.
Mm. What does it
Because
say?
Well,
there's
I
a
We
mean,
have
lot
even.
of management.
charity begins at home,
Mhm.
and they say it
Exactly.
begins at home. Doesn't mean it
Mhm.
Yeah,
only stays there.
exactly.
Mm.
Well, I
But
mean,
what about
it's
you,
like
Ian?
even. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. What about you? Have you ever volunteered in anything? I know you did some, if I'm not mistaken.
I did do a lot back in the day, especially during my high school and even out of high school, like 3 years after it. I really did spend most of my time helping. Well, I was non-paid. I was not forced to go to it. It was helping kids with autism. It was basically small classes where I'd sit there and teach them, well, try to teach them basic life skills, like how to cook food, how to manage their own money, even though I have a problem doing it myself. But it's still
Okay,
the
the
fact
best
that
teacher is the one
I
who failed.
took.
Mm-hmm.
Learning from their
It's
mistakes.
the fact that
Mhm.
me and one other person were helping a group of like 120 people with autism, and everyone just kept on brushing it off. I'm like, dude, this is like serious in our area. If you don't take the time and take care of the people who need that extra help. And I did not get paid
Exactly.
once for it. The system here in Florida, so basically if I get pulled over, they'll see that on my record and just tell me, go.
Mm.
I don't need community hours. If I ever go to jail, they'll instantly bail me out because what I've done with our community has literally impacted the lives of like 200 plus people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Good.
made their lives a little bit easier and their parents' lives a lot easier. I heard about one of them last week. Is that now one of them is working for the local police department as a janitorial, which is not bad,
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
he has a job now.
Mhm.
He has a job now. He's
Exactly.
getting steady income.
That's a
It's
yeah.
just people don't take the time, especially with people with special needs. They just don't understand it. You got to have
Well, for a
patience
lot
and
of people, it's
time.
patience. Yes, it's a
It's
lot of
patience, but
patience,
it
a lot of
also
understanding.
the misunderstandings and some people are like genuinely afraid of people
Mhm.
who are different compared to
Hmm.
themselves. I know I
Hey,
was.
look at me.
I was yeah, but no, don't go there. Hold on. I I used to shut up. I used to deliver newspapers when I was younger. Special needs, my guys. Special needs. Anyway, I used to deliver newspapers when I was younger. It was the only work I could get when I was like 15 or whatnot that I was allowed to work with. And we were at a nursing home. That nursing home had a special unit for people with brain damage or with dementia or whatnot. So, unpredictable behavior. Given that I was 15 at that point, I was the only one outside of nursing home who got the code because I had to deliver just one newspaper in there. I have never been so afraid in my entire life because I didn't know what I was walking into, and there was like this crowd of people walking towards me, but that was not because they wanted to hurt me. I was new.
Mhm.
I was exciting. They wanted to see who I was, or for some people, what I was. But I just got scared, threw the newspaper, and remembered the code and yeeted out of there.
Oh, no.
Which I now can see was the wrong thing to do, but given I was a teenager, okay? I was scared shitless by these people. But I have since ventured back to the nursing home. My mom works in one. I know how to help around if I'm there. Like even a little thing like pushing an old lady in a wheelchair down to her bingo cards,
Mhm.
That little thing makes their day. It sounds stupid. It sounds like a stupid little detail, but they really live long on that detail that somebody else showed them
Mhm.
kindness. Now back
It's
to
the
the
little
retard
things.
case
It's the
over here.
little. As I'm going to go on from that, is that it's the smallest. It's the smallest things that impact the biggest in certain people.
That's true. Sometimes
Like
a
the
small
kids.
action can give out great change.
Yes, the kids that did have autism, a lot of them really did
Mhm.
start coming successful. They're getting their own jobs. There's the few that didn't get so far. Actually, just last week, I got a call from one of their parents, and this is going to bring you a little bit of a tearjerker and kind of a sensitive topic at the moment. One of them passed away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Let's leave
Yes,
it at
but I'm
that.
not going to go into that. I'm going
Yeah.
to leave it at that.
Yes.
But it's still the fact that they remembered after all these years.
Yes.
After all these years that I showed kindness and took time out of my life to help them, they still reached out to me. And that's the biggest thing that people don't understand. You don't have to be rich.
Just that
You
little bit
don't
of
have to have a
kindness.
lot of money. You don't have to have a big house. You just got to be yourself and help when you can.
Like that old
Well, I think a lot of it
lady
too.
at the nursing home. She kept asking me how old my dog was. She did that 20 times, given that she had dementia, but I loved answering that question every time.
The thing
Just to
is
see
too,
the
is
joy in
just
her eyes when she figured out that little detail, that's amazing.
Oh.
the thing is just showing compassion, just acting instead of saying. It's easy to take an easy way out, but just showing that physical bit of actually wanting to help someone else, just that small little bit can make a huge difference in someone's life. More than you, even people with like like hardcore depression, medical concerns, so many different things. Just that one. A lot of times it'll only come down to that one small action, and it's a lot of people's life can even mean life or death.
I mean, even if you're at the local supermarket and you see a person struggling with, like, it could be a young to an old, like getting the groceries up to the register, or just needing that last piece of, like, the last money to pay, like a small amount or whatnot. I'm like, just the other day, this is a fun one. For the ladies out there, you understand this one. So, my mom and I was walking out of the supermarket, and we noticed this lady, young, well, kind of young, well, my age. Shall we go with that? And her skirt was caught in her pantyhose. So she was showing assets. And my mom was like, oh my God, did you see that? Maybe we should help her out. So I'm like, yeah, you go to the car or window over to her, tap her on the shoulder. I'm sorry, sweetie, but your skirt is stuck in your. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. Oh, you're so kind. You're so sweet. I'm like, okay, you're creating more attention than you need, okay? Just put that little thing. I know that's not a charity, but that's the human way of helping out, even if it's that small of a detail. Because otherwise, she was ventured that entire store with a pantyhose shown and one ass cheek, by the way. But one we haven't heard from, who's very quiet at the end of the table here, Anubis. Had you have any, like, experience with charity or whatnot?
Actually, I had an experience with one majorly. Here, living in the UK, even Rossi can agree with this. We have a massive problem with homelessness. We've got a lot of people on the streets.
Here in the States, too.
It's from
Maybe
not
where you live
just
more.
just
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame. No, I'm just kidding.
Tokkie stamp of disapproval.
But yeah, it's some people think it's not paying your bills, or paying enough. It's not always about that. What's rising even more is now young people are starting to become living on the streets, because usually it's down to their household. If their parents are struggling and not saying anything about it, or they get kicked out, which happens quite a lot. They get kicked out for example, one didn't get good grades enough in college, so they just kicked them out. So you got to learn the hard way, which I disagree with. Another one
Well,
was
in short, cost of living's going up, but house prices are also going up, but wages aren't.
Exactly.
Thing,
And not only
it's actually
that,
statistic
another
that
thing
most
is
people are 2 meals away from being homeless. That's the international average in the UK and the US.
Oh, yeah.
2
2 meals away from being homeless.
And the thing is,
What you
we're
were
eating 2
saying?
meals a day here. Sometimes I'm eating 1 meal a day because I'm paying bills. It's not easy living wherever you are. But at the minute, another one person I spoke to, she got kicked out onto the streets because she came out as lesbian.
Oh, for
Got
fuck's
kicked out on the
sake.
streets.
Okay, it doesn't
Straight up.
matter what sexually
it.
or It doesn't matter what people's
Orientation.
sexuality is. Yes, I know, I'm blabbling. Just accept people for who they are. That's a
Well, that's the
change
thing.
too. The people needs to take.
I don't understand because, regardless of whatever, they're still family. You can't just pick and choose and throw them out like trash. They're still family. You
The
can't
thing
just throw them
is,
out with
I
the rubbish.
spoke to that lady myself, and it turns out that their family are on our old lines of whole hard religion.
Still, though, it doesn't even
That's the
matter.
problem.
It's still, you don't toss them out with a dustbin. You don't.
Exactly.
It's still
But the
family.
thing is, though, it's not just young lives as well that's on the streets. It's old people as well. I have now seen a growing number of older people being on the streets. Hell, I was on a night out with my brother and my mates 2 years ago, and I walked past an old lady who looked to be around about in her 80s in the winter time with a trolley collecting plastic and rubbish just to recycle, just to get some cash to find somewhere to eat and get to sleep for a few nights, somewhere warm. On that night, I gave her £5. A £5 note. That's all I could provide at the minute. But I wished her luck. If I had a spare room, I would have taken back home with me, give her a towel, got her some fresh clothes, and say, look, get a nice hot shower, food will be ready in an hour, there's a nice comfy bed, sheets and linen all changed, all clean, you get a good few nights rest, and see if you can get in contact with anyone, or we can find you an organisation who'll be able to help you out. I wish I could have done that. But unfortunately, I couldn't. So that little bit, charity's not always about money. It's about how you are to other people. People who are most unlucky than you are. I'm hanging on by a thread. I'm literally hanging on by a thread. But I make my money work because why? I am good with my money. I know how to budget. I know what I need to pay for to get the essentials and then get treats. But it's not always about money. It's always how you treat other people. The best charitable thing that you can ever do is lending someone in need an ear. Just an ear. Just to listen. Because that's sometimes what they need.
Approval.
And another one is, the reason why I don't like my country so much is because a few times I've walked past a few veterans.
Yes.
Who were served in the
see that
military.
I was just going to say that one, actually.
Yes,
They
the bad
get
thing is, I see
nothing
that
and
a
they
lot here in
stick
the
their
States.
necks on the line and they get nothing back in return.
I just can't
Which I do
understand
not
this
like.
day and age that the veterans are just left. I mean, don't get me wrong. When they come out of the services, they've been given, if they've served a long time, they get a good
Thank you
skill
for your
set.
service,
they can
here's a
learn things.
medal.
Yeah, when they come out of the military service, they're not. I just can't understand why they're not given the training or the therapy or whatever you want to call it to deal with civilian life as opposed to military life. It's just that's the bit they struggle with because they go from like
helpful support.
Here's a skill, here's qualifications, but now you're out there, knock off, you're on your own. It's like, well, hang on a minute. I only know how to do things by you shouting at me and screaming and hurling at me, but then now I've got to think for myself. What the fuck? It's
exactly, and you see that so many times that there's no orientation back into civilian life. And I mean, I hate to say it, it's kind of a bad analogy, but it's still true. It's like if you're in prison for 20 years and all of a sudden you're thrown back on the streets, and it's like, what do I do? What? You still have that same mindset of just being a cog, and now you're an individual.
There is a special word for that. There is a special word for that, and that's called institutionalized.
Yes, exactly.
I will say
saying that is quite funny, actually, because...
You continue.
So, as I say, going on to that, the prison one, it's quite funny, actually, because, like you say, they come out of prison, it's just like, yeah, okay, you can get out now, whatever reason. And then they're on their own. They can't get a job because they've got a criminal record. There's
Mhm.
no charities that they know of that they can go to. There's no one that they can go to talk about the charities that are available to them. So they end up just committing crimes again, just go back into prison
Just
for
go back in.
the stability of food, somewhere to sleep, and, a roof over their head.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I-
here,
I've seen so many
Sometimes
times
that is
myself.
also the case because one of my mates, he has done time, and he has struggled so hard, struggled really, really hard. But he's managing to make it work only just by me just giving it advice. That, take it just day by day. Don't try and run before you can walk. Keep looking,
finger
keep
down.
finding, and keep pushing. You can stick that
What do
finger
you wanna
somewhere
say,
else if
Aya?
you want.
Oh, I
Sorry.
Okay, I know this is
Oh, Dave.
this is now that we've derailed.
We went there.
Now that
We
we've
went
derailed.
there.
Now that we've derailed, I've been noticing fucking Leox's foot's been tapping over there like it's goddamn Cotton Eye Joe. Where'd you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe.
Come from Cotton Eye Joe.
Looks like he's da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, dear.
Okay, I will say something.
Anyway.
Here we actually do in one of the cities an hour away from me. We do have a home for the veterans, where they could go, they can get together, they could cook a meal with each other, have that group
Community.
that they can kind of relate to and talk to and share ideas or whatnot. Where a staff that knows what they're dealing with is there. They
Mhm.
can stay there, they can sleep there, whatnot, if whatever they want. And it actually just a little street away from the actual barracks and the military station that's in that town. So they can basically just walk up and down if they want to.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
yeah, I
I und-
agree. There is a lot of post-traumatic stress with
A lot of overlooking too.
veterans. Exactly.
A lot of people just overlooked.
It's not easy seeing a veteran go through a PTSD attack. It's not
I've
easy,
seen
not
plenty
one
of
bit.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've only seen one, and it frightened the shit out of me. I was just walking.
But-
I had bad mental health, so I was walking along the prom, and then all of a sudden I hear shouting, and I mean goddamn long shouting, like someone actually being bellowing their
Mhm.
guts out. And I saw this man just literally just running from these little benches that overlook the promenade, and he's just ducking behind them, and he's just seeing pop his head over in prone position. I'm like, I need to help that person. Instinctively, I already knew it. I need to help that person because that person's going through that situation at time. In their mind, they're seeing what's on the battlefield, not what's seen their
Yeah.
eyes in reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're seeing a picture in front of their eyes. Now, the reason why I had to help that person because he started running forward. He would have dropped. I ran and I intersected him. Yeah, sure, I got fucking hurt because of it because he was still there in that moment. But god damn, when I fucking screamed my fucking head off it, he snapped. Then when he came around, he fucking apologized so much and said, look, it doesn't matter. You've gone through for a tough time and I won't be able to understand that. You saved our lives. The
Okay.
best I can do is to save your life from whatever you're going through.
Let's go from the bad to the
Nina, you
good
broke my goddamn
of
arm, but
charity.
it's worth it.
Starting with here we have like rescues for dogs and cats and whatnot. People can
Mhm.
voluntarily give their animals to shelter. A good shelter, mind you. Because we have
Yeah,
no
it's a
kill
big one.
shelters here. We are non-kill. Okay? Here. If they are sick, so sick that it cannot be replaced in a home without being in danger,
Mhm.
yes. If they're so sick that they cannot live on longer, yes. But other than that, it's a non-kill.
Mhm.
So when people are going into these shelters and they want to adopt an animal, they have to go through a background check. They have to say what
I'm
they
all
can
for that.
provide,
Mhm.
what they can afford, and what not. But just because they're the first that apply for that animal doesn't mean necessarily that they're the one given the animal. If you don't have the economy, if you're not home as often, or you're traveling a lot or whatnot, and you can't take the animal with you, then you're just not a match.
The
And
thing
they
is, I think
do
that's the way it
this
should be.
solely, yeah, they do this solely on donations from private people, from businesses, whatnot. They're putting their heart and soul into this. One that not living that far from me, she does it with what she get donated, like blankets, food, colors, you name it. She
Mhm.
built her whole house around these dogs that she has, even cats now. Would they have a special little, how do you say? It's not a cage. It's like a little gate, miniature gate
Mhm.
for the cats and dogs. So if you don't want to be there when you deliver your animal, because we all know people can have different situations and stuff they're going through. So you don't want to be judged, which she doesn't do that. But she has the little thing, like a crate.
Fuck all of you.
All right.
Fuck all of you.
All right.
Hey, now don't tempt me with the good times, sugar tits.
Shut up.
He started it.
I know, but I'm finishing it. Stop it.
Children.
As I was saying, you can put your cat and dog in there and you can make sure that she's going to notice it.
Told you I have to fill in.
There we go. And like she has cameras up. Anything that she can provide for these animals, she does.
Yeah.
She made that special little gate because some fucked up idiot thought it was a good idea to throw in a cat within a pack of dogs and think, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And she could not get to it in time. So for safety measures, she invented that.
Mhm.
She made somebody actually build that for her. So they had like a
that's
box they
good.
can go into and she can pick them out on the other side without everybody tearing each other apart. And they run out free. They have a whole backyard and courtyard for themselves.
Mhm.
When it's hot, they have
Nice.
like water they can go into. When it's cold, they have little igloos kind of thing. They just all sleep inside.
Mhm.
If not on her bed with her 12 fucking own dogs, which are basset hounds, they're adorable.
Aw.
Then with just they're there. They're either in the room next to her or in the same room. If they can with her own dogs, then sure. And she does this. She gets food from different animal shops, stores, whatnot. Donation privately. If possible, I'll get the link to her. She has a website, I believe so, and I'll leave it in the description below, so you can go in and check her out by yourself. But that's a good idea. I like that. I have not heard of a shelter that's killed any animals because of whatnot. They even take in strays from Spain.
Well, the thing is, too, is for taking on an animal. I mean, I'm sorry, you should almost go through the exact same process as you would adopting, a child.
It is a
And-
child.
Well, we don't
It's
have
your
anything like that here in the UK.
It's a fur baby.
We do have a charity
It's a fur
here in the UK. What's it? Dogs Trust. That
Mhm.
they're basically a shelter as well. However,
Yeah,
you
you've got
can
Dogs
just
Trust and
still apply for it, and you'll
what's
get
the
it.
other one? There's another one. Is it Battersby Dogs Home
Uh,
in the UK?
The only ones that I know is Dogs Trust and
Hmm.
But as we're saying, there's so many
Yeah.
things you can give
Sorry.
to animals,
Mm.
children, normal people like you and me, older people. But before we get into more of these charities that we could help out, as you also know, we have a link in the description for GoFundMe for Help Out a Veteran. Please donate to that. He can use all the help he can. But Ren, you actually have some exciting news for our YouTube.
Yes, so we are actually going to be changing gears on the 6873 show. We are actually going to be moving ourselves more towards a nonprofit because, I mean, being in this virtual realm, we do encounter a lot of people who need help. Even in our IRL lives, we encounter people who need help, including, in fact, there's a couple of no-kill shelters near me that we'd like to help. In fact, a lot of our Halloween events, that money actually goes to feeding animals. But we are actually wanting to move the show more towards a nonprofit and actually helping and making a difference, essentially on a global scale too, because you have to figure that we're literally scattered all over the globe here. So we can make a huge difference here, and that is going to be our goal moving forward. In fact, all of our Patreons, that money doesn't go to us. None of us are paid to do this show. That money actually goes into a slush fund, and we actually use that to help people and animals in need. So we are actually going to be reaching out to more people and encouraging more people to actually join our Patreon, even at a $1 level, because that money does actually go into a slush fund to help fund some of our projects that we're going to be doing not only this year but in years to come to help animals in need, people in need, whatever we can do to actually help our community and our neighborhoods. So all of your Patreon donations to the 6873 show will actually be going towards that, not to the actual show. So please consider supporting us. Well, go ahead.
Yes. I will say that we do have a PayPal. We have not listed it in, I believe, ever in our description. But if you guys want to donate through there, please, we'll leave our PayPal down there. If you don't have PayPal, Cash App, or whatnot, we are going to start our own GoFundMe that was actually created with Mina, aka Phoenix. We're going to take over that one. We're going to totally remodel it so it will be actually the name My Muse Network. Because as old viewers or new viewers know, 6873 do spell Muse. So why not My Muse Network? And that's going to be happening from hopefully this recording.
Another thing that's going to be happening too is we're actually going to be changing a lot of things up on the show, so you will actually probably even see us have a little bit of a makeover also. In fact, you probably see Ion has a little bit of a makeover here pretty quick. You probably see the rest of us have a little bit of a makeover and possibly even a new stage reflecting the new My Muse network.
Yes. And if you're wondering, is it going to be better or worse? Trust me, the edits that we're phasing, it's going to be a lot better.
Noise.
But don't worry, we still have these oldies in the baggage. We can always pull them out.
Yes.
So if you're seeing these,
mine's just covered with plenty of dust.
There'll be a
Dust
nice
and glitter.
daily surprise.
But if you see us out about, we love to talk to people. Even if you have a good story, please share it with us. If you want to appear on the show, we can make that happen. If you have any organizations you want to bring to light, contact us. Also, as you probably heard, he mentioned Leox. You've seen him in a couple shows. He actually now became our official cameraman. He's also our photographer. And maybe if we get it all figured out, he will be an event manager as well, alongside another person that's going to help us out. Yes, we are going to strive to more events, again, to gather money for people in need, animals in need, or whatnot. So, please, if you need any help with anything, reach out to the show. because we do help personally as well. If it's a conversation, if it's a hug, or just a little nuzzle, we can help you out with that. But I think for now,
And don't say you don't
gonna
because
leave it-
I lurk in the chat.
but any last words before we sign off?
No, I think
I
that's
mean,
about
about
it
the
for this
charity
show.
situation. Okay.
Like I say, please get the word out how we are going to be changing gears. Please consider supporting the show because, like I say, that money does go to legitimately helping people in need and animals in need. And remember too, even though you see, a lot of the big nonprofits stuff like that, a very small percentage of your proceeds actually go to the base cause. But like Rossi says, charity begins at home. And that could even be as something as simple as next time you go to a thrift store, picking up a couple of jackets, just having a small little surplus of stuff that you can give out and say, "Hey, it's cold. Take this." So remember, charity begins at home.
But before we sign off, everybody hands up. Up.
Make me.
Up.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it now. Do it.
Oh, wise Rosie, what is your words of wisdom today?
Wise words from Rossi are: you know you've reached middle age when you're cautioned to slow down by your doctor and not the police.
I'm on a statement, not a wise advice.
Shut up. Leave it be. That's his thing. Tokkie stamp of approval.
It's my thing.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for bearing with us in this episode. We hope to see you in the comments donating to our nonprofit or just for a conversation. We really hope that you guys are doing good out there. We had a little tough start of the year, but we're managing to get there. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and join our Patreon. Everything is in the description below. Leave a comment. We do check up on our comments, so don't be afraid to get on that keyboard. And without further ado, to all the potato chips out there, take care, be safe, lots of love. Bye! Bye!
No fucking summoning. No. Not.
I don't want to deal with that.
Sugar Coop?
I knew it!
Run!
Sugar
Run,
Coop?
Leon, run!
You got a Sugar Coop? I want a Sugar Coop!
Run! Run, man, run!
Hey everyone, Captain Ren here. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and please consider supporting us on our Patreon. Until next week, we'll see you on the 6873 show. Everyone out there, have a good week. Yes.
Okay, one more time and I'll send you to the naughty corner.